Hi everyone. Last week I posted a 30-minute long video about things like Likert scale survey design and its limitations, which I realize for most people on the internet is a long time to talk about that topic. So today I just want to summarize everything in as short amount of time as possible from last week's video. So the first point really is as always, culture matters. Culture is very important. The majority of CEOs and CFOs believe that culture is a top 3 driver of value creation out of any conceivable factor. Why is this? Well, culture creates value through a strong employee experience. Okay, this is typically how people in HR think about it. It's an employee experience thing. And it's true, culture can create huge amounts of value that way. In big organizations, it's often a multi-billion-dollar phenomenon, creating or destroying multi-billions of dollars in value. But arguably even more important to value creation for culture is culture's role as an operating system within a company. So this is affecting all sorts of things like innovation, agility, cross-unit collaboration, processes, accountability. These topics normally don't have such a huge impact on the employee experience, but nevertheless, they can create or destroy huge amounts of financial value for a firm. So for those two reasons, we believe that that's why most CEOs and CFOs think that culture is so important. So that's point one. And then point two is that if you want to effectively manage culture and improve culture, you have to effectively measure culture. And the reason for that is because culture is very smart. It's very multidimensional, it's very nuanced, it's very complex. It has literally hundreds of moving pieces, hundreds of different dimensions, anything ranging from how pet-friendly an office is to psychological safety, to teamwork. You know, it has hundreds of these dimensions. This complexity makes it quite difficult to get your arms around. And if you don't have a firm sense of what is going on with the culture, if you don't really understand the culture, if you can't really measure the culture, then it's going to be very hard to effectively manage the culture. So that's why we think the concept of cultural measurement is so important. That's point two. And then point three is the way that people measure culture right now is wrong. So most companies, big companies, even small companies, the main or often the only way that they're measuring culture is with one of these lengthy Likert scale, point scale surveys, which is going through and asking employees dozens of questions on a scale of 1 to 5. What do you think about this? On a scale of 1 to 5, what do you think about this? And so on and so forth. And the real punchline here is that if employees actually paid attention to these surveys and they went through and they answered these questions like this, and they went through question one, let me think about it. They went through all these questions and they really thought about them, and they got to the question about innovation, and they thought to themselves, on a scale of 1 to 5, what do I think about innovation? Well, I gave the last question a 1, the question before that a 5, but this one's actually a 3. And if they answer questions this way, you'd expect a lot of variance. Because, of course, these questions are about a really diverse range of topics, and employees don't feel the same way about everything in the company, do they? I don't think so. So the punchline is, if this is how employees answered these surveys, that would be a fine way of measuring culture. Maybe there's still better ways to do it, but that would be a pretty good way of measuring culture. However, what we know for sure is that this is not how employees answer these long surveys. This is how employees answer these long surveys. So basically what they're doing is they're going through in a straight line and they're answering almost every question with almost the same answer. And this is not our opinion. This is from an MIT study we did of nearly 1 million of these Likert scale responses from these employee surveys. And this pattern and this visualization is showing the average respondent. So remarkably, half of respondents who answer these Likert scale surveys are showing even less variance than this. So why does this matter? I mean, to be crude, it kind of comes back to garbage in, garbage out. So remember, what you're trying to measure here is this incredibly rich, nuanced, smart, complex topic with hundreds of different dimensions. You're trying to measure something really smart. And if this is the data that you're using to measure that, you can just see right off the top of you can just see that this is not high quality data. This data is not smart enough to measure the thing that it's supposed to be capturing. So anyway, I go into a lot more detail about this in the video. Maybe I'm not doing a good job explaining now, but this is really the punchline. It's impossible to effectively measure culture with a point scale survey. You can measure engagement this way. You can measure engagement, but you cannot measure culture. So then the question becomes, what do we do? It really matters to measure culture. How do we do it? And that's what I talk about at the end of the video. The good news is we're at a very exciting time in artificial intelligence right now. And one of the things that artificial intelligence is letting us do a much better job of is measure culture. So I think that's the solution. It's the solution we actually already have, and it works really well. So that's what I talk about in the end of the video. But in short, that was the summary of the longer video, and thank you for your time.